I was sitting at my kitchen table when I saw it. Balloons, champagne, my sister's wide, rehearsed surprise face, my parents beaming like they had finally produced something worthy of display. The caption read, "Bon voyage, our star." And then my mother's comment, "She's the only one who makes us proud." I read it twice, not to confirm the words, to confirm the calm. I didn't feel a sting. I didn't feel rage. I felt alignment, like something that had been crooked my whole life had finally snapped into place. I smiled, opened my laptop, logged into the joint family account, and clicked Withdraw. There was a time when I believed families were built on love. I used to wait by the window when I was 8, holding a drawing I made for my dad. He walked in, glanced at it, and said, "That's nice. Where's your sister?" She had a spelling bee that day. She won second place. They framed the certificate. I got a polite nod and a suggestion to try harder. I learned early that love in my house was performance-based. My sister performed, I observed. She was loud, confident, photogenic. My parents adored the reflection she gave them. I was quiet, analytical, invisible, useful but not admirable. I did their taxes at 16, fixed the Wi-Fi, drove my sister to practice. No one called me the pride. I was the reliable one, which is another word for replaceable. The signs started small. When I got my first job, my mother insisted we open a family savings account. For emergencies, she said, for unity. I deposited most of my paycheck into it. I liked the idea of contributing, being seen as responsible. Years passed. I kept depositing. My sister never did, but she withdrew. Little things at first. Tuition, borrowing for trips, a new laptop, always with my mother's approval. She needs it more than you. I never argued. I told myself this is what family does. Then came the house. My parents were struggling with mortgage payments. I transferred a large sum to help them. My father hugged me for the first time in years. I thought, finally, I mattered. A week later, my sister posted photos from a luxury spa weekend. The same weekend, my parents told me they couldn't afford groceries. I noticed. I stayed quiet. I started watching. Statements, transfers, patterns, money leaving the account in steady streams, always justified, always emotional. None of it for me. All of it endorsed by the same woman who just wrote I was nothing to be proud of. That's when I stopped being the son and became the auditor. I didn't confront them. Confrontation is emotional. Emotion clouds precision. Instead, I gathered documents. I downloaded 10 years of statements, highlighted every withdrawal, every transfer, every time my mother authorized my sister to borrow from money that was primarily mine. I checked the agreement agreement. Primary contributor, me. Authorized users, them. Ownership, shared. Legally shared. But contribution, 92% mine. I printed everything, filed it. Not for drama, for leverage. Then I did something simple. I stopped depositing. No one noticed. They only notice inflow, never the source. Which brings us back to my 30th birthday. Paris. Pride. Public humiliation disguised as celebration. I stared at that comment for a long time. I realized something important. They weren't careless. They were honest. This was how they truly saw me. Useful, silent, financially convenient, not worthy of pride. So I decided to become worthy of memory. I transferred every cent I had ever contributed out of the account. Not impulsively, precisely. I left the exact amount my sister had personally deposited over the years, $3,420. The rest came to me. Then I called the bank and removed my authorization from the account. Then I emailed my parents. Subject line, reconciliation of funds. No insults, no accusations, just statements, dates, totals, attachments, and one sentence at the bottom. Since I don't make you proud, I thought you'd prefer not to be financially associated with me. The call came within minutes. My mother was crying. My father was furious. How could you do this to family? I listened, let them finish. Then I said, check the numbers. I already did. Silence. They weren't angry because I was wrong. They were angry because I was precise. The real climax came 2 days later when my sister landed back from Paris. She came to my apartment. No makeup, no performance. "What did you do?" I invited her in, offered tea. Calm. I corrected a misunderstanding. She stared at me like I'd become someone else. "You drained the account." I withdrew what I put in. "That money was for all of us." I held her gaze. "Was it?" She didn't answer, because for the first time in her life, she had no applause track, no parents standing behind her validating her version of reality. Just numbers. Facts don't love anyone. They don't play favorites. They expose. My parents had to refinance their house. They had to ask my sister for help. She couldn't. She had never learned how to be the reliable one. That role was always mine, and I had resigned. Weeks later, my mother texted me, "We miss you." Not "we're sorry." Not "we were wrong." Just absence, not accountability. I didn't reply. Not out of anger, out of completion. I used the money to put a down payment on my own place. Small, quiet, mine. I hung no certificates on the wall, no framed praise, just a mirror, because for the first time in my life, the only person I needed to make proud was staring back at me, and he was smiling.